So welcome to January 19th, 2021, Explore Careers in Healthcare. I'm Liz Jennings, Employer Engagement Specialist with CareerForce, and today our topic is apprenticeships. What are apprenticeships? What are on-the-job training programs that could help you in your career search, in your job search, get going in a career in healthcare? January is Healthcare Month. We're at DEED in the state of Minnesota and at CareerForce. And we have so many resources, labor market information, job change information, tidbits about the industry, job fairs coming up the remainder of the month. And it's all located on careerforcemn.com/industry/health-care. Please check that out. At any time, the website's available 24/7. Today, we've got some very interesting speakers coming up. We're going to start with a conversation with one of my workforce strategy consultant colleagues who's going to talk about a basic overview of apprenticeships and on-the-job training. Then we're going to hear from our colleague, I should say, from Minnesota's Department of Labor and Industry about all of the programs that they lead, employers especially, but that help train job seekers and incumbent workers in so many different industries. We're going to hear from two healthcare facilities that have participated in apprenticeship programs in the past, Touchstone Mental Health and Sauer Healthcare. Then we're going to hear from a colleague at Central Minnesota Jobs and Training Service, who's a leader in the CareerForce system in helping on-the-job training programs. And then finally, we're going to wrap it up with some more information about job fairs and other training programs coming up through CareerForce. But let's get started right away, and I'm going to welcome Della Ludwig, my colleague from DEED, from CareerForce, and she's going to tell us more about apprenticeships, dual training, pipeline programs, on-the-job training opportunities. Hello, Della.
Hi, everyone. I'm Della Ludwig. I'm a workforce strategy consultant, like Liz has said. I work for the Department of Employment, Economic Development, and we mostly work with employers trying to find that work staff, that job opportunities for them to help fill their positions. So what I'm going to talk a little bit about today is the first screen we're going to talk about is healthcare, the overview of healthcare. So if we can move forward, thank you. So on average, Minnesota's average annual wages in this industry is $53,659. That's 4% above the nation's average. And wages obviously go up with the more training or certification or experience that you have. There's a long-term career demand. So these jobs are not going away anytime soon. I don't know if you have heard, but like the National Guard has even been called in parts of Minnesota to help with the shortage in our healthcare and senior care industry. And then 4 out of the top 10 jobs in the state of Minnesota are in healthcare. So this again shows there's a lot of opportunity for job seekers in this field. The healthcare offers many different entry-level positions and a lot of career laddering as well through the positions within healthcare as well as senior care industries. So positions such as CNA, LPN, RN, nursing, doctors obviously are positions that you're aware of. But there's also a ton of positions available in dietary and in the kitchen. Janitorial or housekeeping, business administration, secretarial, accounting, payroll, as well as even medical device and manufacturing. Tons of positions are available in this career field. So definitely pay attention today to all the different speakers that we have, and it will be very interesting for you. So we'll go to the next slide, talking about some of the Department of Employment and Economic Development programs that are available. So here's an overview of some of those that we have. And the Department of Employment and Economic Development, which is also known as DEED, several training grants and programs that work with businesses, educational institutions, and nonprofit organizations to train or retrain their workers or expand work opportunities and keep high quality jobs in Minnesota. These programs are great opportunities for businesses, including healthcare, to redefine their internal training programs and develop a strong employee pipeline by showing potential hires how jobs can become those careers. And here's just a few of them that we are offering at this time for employers and for those job seekers to get that training within that business. And we'll go on to the next slide. And with the Department of Labor and Industry, they also have 3 main training programs to help businesses grow their skilled workers, customize employee training, and to develop a diverse workforce that fits the company's needs as well as the individual's needs. So you'll be hearing more about these programs in a few minutes. We have a speaker from DLI that will be talking about those. And then the next slide is on the regional training opportunities. We have Tim Zapoy from Central Minnesota Jobs and Training today that will be here talking about some of the programs they offer, including the on-the-job training. So DEED and CareerForce work closely with our communities and with regional service providers, including CMJTS and the Minnesota Association of Workforce Boards, which believe workforce development is the key for economic growth and the development with the actual employers. So this group works with businesses wanting to diversify their workforce as well as job seekers who need assistance with making new or transitional career changes. They work with many programs to offer support for career seekers with a variety of skills, including whether you're a veteran, young adult, immigrant, working with disabilities, and those that have been dislocated by layoffs or any type of job closings. So some of the programs include the on-the-job training for new hires, transitional job opportunities, work experience for young adults that age 16 to 24, and the incumbent worker training to upskill those existing workers. So we'll be talking more in a little bit about all of these programs. I want to welcome everybody today for coming and learning more about these programs. And now I'm going to turn it back to Liz as we move forward.
Thank you, Della. Yeah, let's just jump right in. I'd like to welcome Kathleen Gordon of Minnesota's Department of Labor and Industry.
Thanks, Liz. Yeah, so I'll just start off right from the start. I work for the Minnesota Department of Labor and Industry, and we have 2 actual programs that are addressing exactly what we're talking about here. So the first is Registered Apprenticeship, which is a time-tested, long program that has been around for over 100 years, and the more recent dual training pipeline, which the legislature put into play in 2014. And it started out as the pipeline project, and now it has gone into an actual program, so it has sustained funding. So both of these programs are employment-based training. And we're going to specifically focus on healthcare today, obviously. So we can go to the next slide. Okay, so what is employment-based training when we're talking about the dual training pipeline or apprenticeship? So it is structured on-the-job training, which anyone who's starting a new job obviously is going to be doing some type of on-the-job training, and it can take a variety of forms. Probably the most typical on-the-job training is job shadowing. So you're learning by seeing what an experienced person is doing, and they're performing the task for you and you're watching along. Another that is really very popular in dual training programs is mentorship. So mentorship allows time for a mentor and a mentee to basically build a relationship, and it's more than just job shadowing. It goes both ways. You can ask questions, and and just really build a good relationship, which leads to good company culture. Another form of on-the-job training would be cohort-based training. Some of our companies hire a number of workers all to do the same position. They start on the same day and they're in what they call a cohort. So in those type of situations, that really provides information to all trainees at once. And also it allows for the cohort of student employees to get to know one another. So also building relationships, which is key. Okay, we also have discussion-based training, and that's really open communication between experienced employees and the new employees. Many times that involves demonstrations and learning in individual tasks. Another type of training would be assignment-based training, and that's not so much seen in healthcare as it is in, we find it a lot in information technology, where they're given an assignment, a project, so to speak, and then they can go through that training and then be, critiqued and see what they did wrong and what they did right, and move forward from there. So the structured on-the-job training is one piece of dual training, and the other is related instruction, which means that the student employee is, so to speak, in school for a specific credential. So for dual training, for our dual training pipeline, the employee student needs to earn a certificate, a degree, or an industry recognized credential while they're in this type of instruction. So they're in instruction also during the same time that they're doing on-the-job training, which we have found has really learned to a powerful learning concept, engaged employee, and it's a benefit for the employer and for the employee. So we can go on to the next slide. So first off, the Minnesota Dual Training Pipeline is a program, like I said, at the Department of Labor and Industry. We really worked with employers who would like to create these pipelines. So it really was initially the concept at the legislature was to address Minnesota's current and future workforce needs. And we have 4 specific industries that it is targeting, including healthcare. The employers create career pathways for their employees, and that can really can start out with an entry-level employee who wants to just get started in healthcare, and can go all the way up through relatively high-level employees in healthcare organizations. So it's really creating career pathways for employees to build their careers, especially because so many of the state's workers are retiring, they're baby boomers, and they're moving on to other things. So we want to make sure that our healthcare industry remains strong. And like I said, employees will be earning degrees and industry recognized credentials, making them more and more employable. And we can go to the next slide. So apprenticeship has a number of myths and facts attached to it. Most people a lot of times think of apprenticeship having to do with the trades, such as plumbers, electricians, people within construction. But what isn't known all the time is that apprenticeship is really moving into more and more industries, and healthcare being one of them. It's I would say, probably in its infancy in healthcare, but it's moving pretty strongly forward. A lot of employers begin with a pipeline program to kind of get their feet wet and then move on to a full-on apprenticeship. So some of the myths and facts of apprenticeship is that all registered apprenticeship programs are at union companies. And that is not true. Some are at union companies, definitely, but are not. Registered apprenticeship programs are only in the Twin Cities metro. And that's definitely not the case, as they are really dispersed throughout the state. Registered apprenticeship programs are only in the construction trades. A lot of people think of, just construction type of occupations for apprenticeship. And granted, those are the most common, but now we are really opening up into more non-traditional industries such as healthcare. A lot of people think registered apprenticeship programs are just for large, super large companies, and that's not the case at all. They are employers, whether they are large or small, can sponsor apprenticeship programs. And another myth is that registered apprentices will get trained and then leave the employer. This is more for, obviously, employers who are interested in this, and that's definitely not the case. We have found that it really reduces turnover and leads to strong retention among employees, because obviously employees would rather stay somewhere where an employer is investing in them and paying for their education. So we can move on to the next slide. And what is registered apprenticeship? So really, it is you are getting a job, you're doing on-the-job training at the same time that you're in school for a higher level position. While you are working, you're earning wages and you're earning a credential. So it is really building up to a career ladder. So it's a pathway. And it really builds a highly skilled and diverse workforce. So the benefits of apprenticeship are that you earn a paycheck from the start, you get job training, your wages increase as your skills increase, you're mastering in-demand skills, and you are earning credentials, and it's really a pathway to the middle class. And so we can go to the next slide. And okay, this is, I will just also tell you that this is my email address. If anyone has any questions, or certainly you can type them into the chat. We have certain, in the dual training pipeline, we have certain occupations that are validated within DLI. And in the healthcare category, we have, I will just kind of read them off, because just so you have kind of an idea of what occupations we are talking about. So we have addiction specialist, a CNA, certified nursing assistant, community health worker, dental assistant, dental hygienist, electronic health records specialist, health support specialist, licensed practical nurse, LPN, medical assistant, medical lab assistant, medical lab technician, ophthalmic technician, psychiatric/mental health technician, radiologic technician, registered nurse, senior living culinary manager, and surgical technologist. And we are always looking to expand that list. And actually, I'm working currently on adding 6 new occupations to the healthcare dual training pipeline. So that kind of gives you an idea of what we're talking about as far as occupations within the field. And anyone who is interested in any of those occupations would want to go on to our website. And I can put up our website in a minute, just because that list, we have a map of all of the healthcare employers, and that's who you would go through to perhaps talk about getting a job with one of those companies, so that perhaps you can go through their pipeline program. And same with apprenticeship. I'll put up that website as well. And we have a list of the employers who are employing healthcare apprentices. So I'll throw it back to Liz.
Great. Thank you, Kathleen. You know, the one question I have, and it could be a question of many people, do you have to be a young person, like right out of high school or 2-year college, or can a career changer be considered for one of these types of programs?
Completely awesome question. Yeah, it is. There is no age factor. To be honest, we have seen, I've seen people within the pipeline who are like you say, right out of high school who are moving up, but I have seen people well into their 60s who are in the middle of pipeline programs who've always wanted to learn a new skill and just never did. So yeah, it's at any level of your career. And to be honest, a lot of, so many workers have transferable skills that work well with healthcare that you can get an entry-level position and then start working your way up.
Great, thank you. Yes, so Kathleen, after you're done there, put the link in the
Sure.
chat for everyone to grab. Meanwhile, we're going to hear from one employer who did that, who participated in DLI's Minnesota Dual Training Pipeline Program. So I'd like to invite Annie Rupert of Sauer Healthcare now to talk about her facility and their experience. See if Annie is unmuted, if she's on. She might be having technical difficulties. Okay, well, why don't we jump over? Oh, okay. Annie sent me a message that she's trying to dial in. Okay, just a minute.
Liz,
there she is. Yes, we got you now.
Super. All right, well, hello everyone. I am happy to be here and kind of share about our experience. This is our first year with the dual training grant. So Liz, if you can advance the screen deck, I'll share a little bit about our facility. We are a standalone nonprofit facility. We're a smaller organization. We have 71 beds, and we are all on one floor. So we're a little bit unique in that all of our employees are really close-knit. My office is right next door to a resident room, and so it really gives us an advantage with this dual training program in that we're really very accessible and able to have a lot of that one-on-one communication that Della was speaking to. In our facility, we do offer all types of speech, OT, PT therapies, and we also provide hospice, respite, and long-term care within our facility. One thing that we're really proud about is how we have created career ladders for our employees. You can see just a list here. This is just our 2020 promotions, and so we've recently promoted a DON who started with us 7 years ago as an LPN, so that's really exciting, and she's just doing a phenomenal job with her team, in large part due to the relationships she's kind of established working side by side with them throughout those years. We've also seen promotions from our dietary department, and our CNAs are getting opportunities to increase their pay through TMA training and LPN training. We actually have 12 students who in the first academic semester this year participated in the dual training grant, each receiving up to $3,000. And then we have another 12 who are participating in the current academic semester that just kicked off. And you can see there is a picture, go ahead, back one. Right there is a picture of our group who participated, or part of our group, in that first academic semester. So even though we had a pandemic going on, they were really troopers figuring out online learning and working through an outbreak, and they were just really fantastic with that. So we kind of have them working part-time as students in our facility. We also have full-time CNAs that we're hiring for at this time. And then, again, Della was talking about some of those unskilled opportunities, or maybe opportunities for those employees who are not yet 18 and so maybe not eligible to work as a CNA. And our COVID Connections team is one of them. They work through our TR department, and we really established this group to kind of specialize in being able to create virtual connections for our residents with family members and helping them with FaceTime or Skype or just window visits in any way we can to keep our residents engaged. This group of staff works with them, and they're all ages. And we're hoping that this interim position, as it phases out at the end of the pandemic, a lot of them will choose to go on and get their CNA and join and engage in our team in a different capacity. We've also got an opportunity right now in our management staff as a dietary director. So if anyone out there has got some restaurant or food service experience, we'd love to hear from you. And we can move on to the next of our slides. So here we're going to dive in a little bit about our participation in the dual training grant. We are so fortunate, located here in Southeast Minnesota in Winona, to have 2 colleges with fantastic nursing programs. Minnesota State College Southeast offers an LPN program, which can be accomplished in about 18 months. And they've just been accredited for an Associates in Nursing program to be eligible to take your RN boards, which you can complete in about 30 months. We also have a BSN program through Winona State University, which is a traditional 4-year college. You see this picture is Ashley, and we're really proud of her. She's been a long-time CNA with us for almost a decade, and she recently decided to go back to school as a non-traditional student and has accomplished her LPN. She'll be taking her boards next week, and we've just finished creating a new role for her as a nursing administrative supervisor. So she's going to actually work with a lot of competency training, and she'll be heavily involved with the dual training grant participants moving forward. Most of our dual training grant participants will be CNAs as they enter in the program, but there are some opportunities, even as you're still in school, where you can get some of those on-the-job trainings that Kathleen were talking about. We have a really kind of formal trained medication aid where we'll do a lot of heavy mentorship, but once you pass your pharmacology with your instructional partner, and then you pass the mentorship with Sauer Healthcare, you'll be eligible for a $1 an hour differential. So I know a lot of our students kind of look for that midway through their experience with us. And then each semester we have a competency-focused area, and there's just some examples listed there on the slide. I think this was really where, you know, necessity is the mother of invention with the pandemic. We really wanted to create opportunities where all of the students, regardless of which program they were in and what point in their program they were in, could still come together in a focus and share and learn. And so this is the platform we came up with. We're also very fortunate that the DON, who I was speaking about earlier, also happens to be a clinical instructor at Southeast for the LPN program. So all of our students will actually come through in a clinical rotation for one semester while they're in that program. So there's a lot of one-on-one access and feedback opportunities there as well. And then if we move forward, we'll just take a little bit closer look. In our facility, there's really not a lot of requirements other than really wanting to be engaged in developing your career in healthcare. For us, you need to complete the dual training grant application, which most people have found to be 15 to 20 minutes of effort. And then we ask that you average a 0.6 status with us. So a lot of our students will be 0.4 during the academic semester, and then they'll kick it up and work closer to full-time during the academic breaks. Although a lot of our LPN candidates have found that they could work, some of them even up to full-time, while getting their LPN and able to manage it all. We also require that you participate in at least some of the on-the-job training opportunities that we provide each semester, and that you maintain a satisfactory performance and attendance. And we really encourage everybody to have a lot of communication and be proactive about what their needs are and what their interests are as well. And if you look to the right there, that's just a sample of what we put together for this academic semester that just ended. So we focused on really resident comfort, and we brought in different contractors, like we had our hospice team come in so they could really ask a lot of questions about what those experiences are, because a lot of people who are new to healthcare and maybe haven't gone through an experience where they're caring for someone in their final days and how the family might react and things like that. Okay, and then if you forward on, We'd love to hear from you if you're in Southeast Minnesota and interested in kicking off a career in healthcare. I'm happy to answer those questions. You can stop by our website or our Facebook page and learn more about us. And you can get to an application in either of those places as well. And if you're from another state and you've already done your CNA, we can help you transfer that over and really get you going, because there are just a lot of opportunities right now, especially in healthcare. And then I think the last slide, there we are. Jeremy is fantastic in the office with me. He handles all of the recruiting, and I'm there in the bottom corner as well. So I'll open it up, Liz, if there's any questions. I can field those now, but otherwise, that's kind of what I've got.
Thank you, Annie. No questions coming in, but certainly people can type questions to you, and you can, well, I guess you're on the phone, but you've got a computer as well. In any case, I am just so happy to hear about all of the training that you do with your employees, and you're a small facility. I mean, that's kudos to your organization.
Yeah, we're really, really excited and proud of all of the employees that we've been able to retain as they increase their credentials. It's been really fun to see everybody kind of fall into a specialty. So very fortunate.
Great, thank you. We're going to move on, and I have a colleague named Tim Zapoy from Central Minnesota Jobs and Training Service. They run a very successful on-the-job training program and other programs, so I'm going to turn it over to Tim, and he can tell you about their services.
Thank you, Liz. Just wanted to make sure, first off, everybody here.
Yes.
All right, cool. So thank you so much. My name is Tim Zapoy. I'm a business services coordinator with Central Minnesota Jobs and Training Services, and I'm just very happy and fortunate to be with you today and happy to share news about what we call on-the-job training, or OJT services, there at Central Minnesota Jobs and Training Services. Maybe first off, a little bit about our organization. CMJTS is a nonprofit employment and training agency and a proud partner within the Minnesota Career Force Center system. There before you, you can see our 11-county footprint serving the area from Pine County to the north to Renville County in the south. At CMJTS, we like to say workforce excellence is central to all that we do. And I know that we also like to say, whether it's your first job, your next job, or your last job, at CMJTS, we have the resources and information, the hope and inspiration that you need to help you along in your career transition and in your career success. I should say, as we start, that I'm happy to talk about CMJTS, but just know, folks, that our organization is not the only organization providing these services in Minnesota. I'm happy to talk about CMJTS and can help you find providers similar to us in your neck of the woods as well. Next slide, please. Okay. There. So what I'm going to first off say is, again, thanks for the opportunity to talk about on-the-job training services at CMJTS, or Central Minnesota Jobs and Training Services. It's a tool that we use to do two things. We use the tool to help job seekers find their first, next, or last job, and we also help business and industry find, train, and keep great workers, great employees, perhaps like those listening here today. It really is a win-win, and kind of what I wanted to point out in that picture is to say that OJT can be used successfully in so many different career fields, especially in healthcare here today as well. So just wanted to kind of get that little bit of an introduction about on-the-job training with that slide, and we'll move to the next one, please. This kind of talks about some of the mechanics of OJT, and what I want to preface on-the-job training with at Central Minnesota Jobs and Training Services is that it's an eligibility-based service. Meaning, if you're a dislocated worker, or if you meet income guidelines, or if you meet some other criteria, you're likely going to be able to put this tool in your pocket on the job training. And we'll learn more as we go about how it can be a competitive advantage for job seekers as well as for business and industry. From the top, an on-the-job training, or an OJT, is an agreement between, or in this instance, CMJTS and a business that we partner with, that documents the training that business will provide to a new employee. OJT is hands-on training designed to address the skills gap between the new employee's existing skills and the job skill requirements. training reimbursements are funded through state and federal employment and training programs. I'm just going to comment on that one. What that means is that we're able to use these dollars, state and federal programs, dislocated worker, WIOA, and other state and federal resources. We're able to use those dollars and do some direct reimbursement back to business and industry. It helps address their bottom line investments in new hire training and development. And you'll hear me say a couple of times too, it's a win-win for new hires and job seekers, as you certainly earn while you learn. Wanted to say also that it's a good thing in the sense that on-the-job training also means that you're trained by companies' own people. You're trained by subject matter experts, those people that know the company, know the jobs the best. It's on-the-job training there at Central Minnesota Jobs and Training Services. Next slide, please. This one is just kind of a gimme in the sense that, as I mentioned earlier, it really has a lot to do with partnership, and it has to do with helping business and industry to find, train, and keep great employees, and along with helping job seekers to find, train, and keep great jobs. We like to use that word partnership an awful lot in the sense that we partner with many business and industry partners throughout our 11-county area. And we also like to partner with job seekers in the sense that we're able to bring these resources together for the betterment of job seekers as well as for business and industry, and that happens only through partnership. I'd also like to say at this point that on-the-job training really is a competitive advantage for a job seeker, something in your toolbox. It demonstrates your resourcefulness. It demonstrates your desire to continue to learn and to develop your career. And it also, on-the-job training also really can increase your marketable skills and certainly can elevate your earning potential as well. Next slide, please. Some of the ways that CMJTS can help job seekers leverage their resources like OJT is to help you incorporate on-the-job training into your job search and to your career development plans. And then quickly, some bullet points around some of the ways that CMJTS successfully does this in partnership with job seekers as well as with business and industry. So once you are eligible for on-the-job training services, we can help you run it up the flagpole, plainly put. We can help you differentiate yourself from other job seekers that have not partnered with an organization like Central Minnesota Jobs and Training Services and tapped into those on-the-job training monies. What we do is to help you learn how to incorporate the verbiage and the language to, again, distinguish yourself from other job seekers that aren't necessarily partnered up and have these on-the-job training resources in their pocket. So we help you learn how to incorporate language into your cover letters, and into your applications. We can certainly coach you and help you learn how to best incorporate that language into your interviews and other verbal communications. We like to best position you with information at job fairs, networking events, and other job search activities. We think it's always good to kind of put things in a short version and come up with an elevator speech for networking and make great first impressions that include your eligibility for on-the-job training services. And we can also help you with how to do some further email content for other job search strategies and techniques as well. These are some of the tools that are available to you through Central Minnesota Jobs and Training Services and around our on-the-job training services. As I mentioned earlier, CMJTS, we serve an 11-county footprint there in central Minnesota, but I want to assure you that if you were to contact your local career force center, they certainly can help you be in contact with an employment and training organization very similar to CMJTS that can help you successfully leverage on-the-job training services into your career transition. To plainly put it again, it really is a win-win. For you as a job seeker, it's a tool that will help you acquire new skills unique to your new position at your new company, and you'll be taught by those people that know it best. And for those people in business and industry that may be learning, it definitely is a win-win for you as well, in the sense that it helps you through some direct wage reimbursement to your bottom line investments of onboarding and upskilling and maintaining great new hires. It's on-the-job training services. We're at Central Minnesota Jobs and Training Services, sure appreciate the time that you've given to tell you more about OJT and our organization. And there before you also is some contact information, both for myself and my supervisor, Leslie. Either one of us would be very happy to tell you all that we can about the ways that you can benefit from on-the-job training through CMJTS and other partner organizations like ours throughout the state. Liz, thank you so much for the opportunity to join you today and share this information.
Well, and thank you very much. And as you pointed out at the beginning of your talk, I mean, there are career force providers all across the state of Minnesota. So we had one question from a participant coming in that she's in St. Louis County and she's looking for some apprenticeship healthcare providers. We'll connect you with the Northeast region. We've got Northeast Minnesota Jobs and Training Service. We've got the career force centers in those locations.
That's the first call to make, ma'am, is to call that local career force center nearest you and ask about their on-the-job training services and some keywords that might help you along the way. Maybe it's dislocated worker, or maybe it's WIOA, or other doorways or pathways into tools like OJT in your neck of the woods up there.
Great. Thank you very much. We're going to go on now. Another provider in the Twin Cities that has participated in the dual training pipeline program has been Touchstone Mental Health. So we've got Carrie Scanlon and a team here from Touchstone today. Welcome, Carrie.
Thanks, Liz. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, you're great.
Okay, super. So thanks everyone for your interest in today's session. And Touchstone Mental Health is considered a healthcare provider. Our field is often referred to as behavioral health. This is a picture of some residents doing some gardening as part of our nature-based therapy. Next slide, please. At Touchstone Mental Health, our mission is to provide innovative person-centered services that foster hope, health, and well-being for adults with mental illness. And our vision is for all peoples whose lives are affected by mental illness flourish with access to effective treatment, quality housing, supportive services, and communities that are inclusive and welcoming. And we do quite a bit to make sure that our services are person-centered, meaning we're really working with the person in our programs to see what their goals are, and then helping provide the services or resources they need to reach those goals. The values of Touchstone Mental Health represent what makes us unique and guides us in our work with clients and with staff. Dignity and respect are the cornerstones of all of our interactions. Diversity, equity, and inclusion create a welcoming culture that reflects compassion and embraces differences. Innovation, excellence, and collaboration in our work helps us set the standards for mental health services and assure the safe and affordable housing for the people we serve. And person-centered approaches ensure that all people have the right to make informed choices about their lives. Next slide, please. So we offer several different kinds of programs and several different community-based programs, but I'm going to just share about two today. We believe that recovery from mental illness is possible, and our approach assists people in living full lives. We are a point of reference guiding clients towards recovery and well-being. We encourage each person to define their life goals and provide the tools so people can achieve them. So Rising Cedar Apartments and New Hope Apartments offer permanent housing with 24-hour on-site services. So that means our residents are with us long-term. We provide them with nursing services, mental health supports, and activities. Minnehaha Commons offers these same services to adults who are 55 years or older and who have experienced homelessness. And these programs are considered essential services, and residents and staff in these programs have already received their first vaccinations last week. Next slide, please. The other types of programming that we do is intensive residential treatment. And intensive residential treatment offers 24-hour mental health services in a structured, supportive environment designed to improve mental health stability, increase personal and emotional skills, self-sufficiency, and independence. The program is designed for residents to receive services for 90 days. We provide education on mental illness, medication, and symptom management. We offer individual counseling and group support for mental illness and co-occurring disorders. We develop living skills, providing linkages to community services, and provide discharge planning for a smooth transition to the community. These programs are also considered essential services, and we expect residents and staff will receive their vaccination soon. Next slide, please. So how do we work with dual training? Our dual training program has actually included 2 halves. So our Minnesota Dual Training Pipeline program includes a Senior Living Culinary Manager Certificate with St. Paul College. The Senior Living Culinary Manager Certificate was first proposed by care providers in Minnesota in response to a growing need for qualified food service workers, specifically in the long-term care field. Now there's to all of food service workers working in these types of settings, and our 3rd cohort of employees will be starting in late February. So we're very excited to see that. And this is a picture of the first person to complete this cohort with Touchstone Mental Health. The Pipeline Grant is an amazing opportunity to gain knowledge and experience in a fun and well-organized environment. And that's just a comment from one of the dual trainees who attended the program last year. And as you can see, the coursework is online and in person with a chef from St. Paul College. And I think the 2 classes people enjoy the most are Culinary Skills 1 and Culinary Skills 2. Next slide, please. We do have some open food service worker positions. One of them is in our supportive housing program in New Hope Apartments. This is a part-time food service worker for every other weekend. And these are the types of skills that we look for. Having some experience in food service helps. Having experience as a line cook is helpful. We're looking for somebody who can follow menus and recipes and prepare and serve the menus. It's important to have knowledge of food safety standards, and then a willingness to work independently, as this is the only food service person on staff during the weekends, and a willingness to provide high customer service. So for those of you interested into moving into the field, we do look for people with a background in customer service. They often have the skills to remain calm and be polite when working with residents. Next slide, please. So this position is actually no longer available, but we have a different food service position that is on our website, and it's for our supportive housing program in Rising Cedar Apartments. It's 30 hours a week, and it's a rotation of weekday and weekend shifts. The skills are exactly the same as the skills here, except for it's not a driving position. So both of these positions are on our website, and I'm more than happy to talk to anyone after the session on Zoom if you have questions about these particular positions, or you can go to our website. The starting pay for our food service workers is $16.50 an hour. Next slide, please. The behavioral health and mental health worker certificate is the second part, or the second item we have with the Minnesota Dual Training Pipeline. And this certificate is a 22 credit program in the psychology department of Century College and can be completely online. So this is something new they've started because of the pandemic, and it's worked out well for our employees. The coursework provides students with knowledge about mental health, human development, and psychological principles. And courses include the ones listed on this slide. Next slide, please. So this is a quote from somebody who completed the coursework to obtain that certificate and had some really positive things to say about the program. So he really enjoyed it, enjoyed the developmental psychology course that he took. It was helpful for him to learn different models of development. He found it very helpful in doing the work he does here at Touchstone, and it's given him additional tools to use with clients that helped him understand some of the things they were going through. Next slide, please. Okay, so why do we offer this this dual trainee pipeline? And that's for our mental health assistants. So we hire mental health assistants in 3 programs, the supportive housing program, so Rising Cedar Apartments, New Hope Apartments, and Minnehaha Apartments. And the shifts are awake overnights, evenings, weekends, and some holidays. The starting pay for the position is $16.50 an hour, and it includes a shift differential for awake overnights, weekends, and holidays. Employees who regularly work more than 20 hours a week are eligible for all benefits, including health insurance and paid time off. So mental health assistants are responsible for establishing supportive and motivational relationships with residents and promoting participation in the activities offered by each program. They perform delegated nursing services, including the administration of medications, as unlicensed personnel under the direction of the nursing staff. They support the cleanliness of common areas and bedrooms and complete housekeeping duties, and they ensure residents and their guests are following safety guidelines to ensure that facilities are safe and secure. And right now we do have extra safety policies and practices in place because of the pandemic. Next slide, please. Individuals with experience or interest in these other related fields find working as mental health assistants a very rewarding experience. Working as a CNA is also another common role that transfers or does well as a mental health assistant. So any of these related fields are fields that apply to the mental health assistant role. And the certificate program is a great opportunity for individuals new to this role. And we've had somebody who started this program within the month of starting with Touchstone. And we've had people who've been with us for a while start and be part of this certificate program. So it's worked for a lot of different staff that we have, and we'd like to continue to see expanded. So the types of skills we look for mental health assistants is an ability to work with residents in a calm and polite manner. Sometimes mental health assistants will need to redirect residents or de-escalate situations. Even when intervening, employees must be calm and polite. So that's a very important skill to have. A willingness to seek support from coworkers during your shift so you can respond together to concerns. There's always an on-call clinical support person and an on-call nurse available as well. One of our values, as I mentioned, was collaboration, and this is really important that you like to work in that team atmosphere. And then a commitment to ongoing education and application of new skills. We provide on-demand training webinars to all employees through our learning management system. We also provide live training sessions every month, which are currently being provided virtually, but they're on topics helpful to learning about mental illness and supporting our clients. Next slide, please.
So Carrie, too, if I may just break in, with all of these positions, can you just clarify, you mentioned COVID precautions. What specifically are you doing for your employees?
Right, so our employees are required to wear face shields, and then which we're providing. Sorry, I should start over. Our employees are required to wear face masks, and then we have face shields, which we're providing. If we have a resident who is quarantining, then we have extra, like a lab coat. It's not really a lab coat. It looks like a lab coat, but we have extra protection clothing that they can put on their own clothing. We have had a few clients who've tested positive, but we have not had an outbreak at any of our programs. And we've had a few clients who've had to quarantine, but they have been able to quarantine in their bedrooms and been fine. We've limited visitors. Over the summer, we had a little window where we let people meet outside on our patios. Otherwise, we've really limited visitors. We've done some staggered shifts, so we have less people on site at a time. And in case there was an outbreak, which we haven't experienced, in case there was, we would still have people who could work. And then we've changed our admissions policies. So some of our programs in the intensive residential treatment programs, we've decreased the number of clients that we have on site at one time so that we can physically distance from each other more easily. And then food service has changed a little bit. We have closed, and depending on the program, we're either serving meals directly to residents in their apartments, or we've staggered when people are eating. We've taken down all of like our buffet lines, so we're serving food. And then we're doing lots of cleaning, wiping down door handles and all of those things to make sure that we are providing a safe environment for our clients, but also for our staff. And like I said, we've been really successful in that we have not had an outbreak at any of our programs so far.
Thank you. Yeah, 1 minute left to wrap it all together.
Thanks, Liz. So I just wanted to mention, as a mental health assistant, it's a first step to a great career path in behavioral health. So in a mental health assistant, you can work in our supportive housing programs, which are licensed by the Minnesota Department of Health and don't require any previous experience. Then you can get promoted to a mental health rehab worker and then work in one of our intensive residential treatment programs. And those programs are licensed by the Department of Human Services, so they require a minimum of 2,000 hours, which is about a year's of experience. And then once you meet that level, you can get promoted again to mental health practitioner, work in one of our intensive residential treatment programs. And that licensure, Department of Human Services requires that you work a minimum of 4,000 hours, which is about 2 years of full-time employment. So it's a great opportunity to build in behavioral health. And all of these positions are very similar. They do very similar work. The main difference is the residential treatment programs work with clients who are needing more acute care. So from a career path, this is a great idea. And then I did ask one of our mental health assistants to just share with us why they went into the field and what they like about working with their residents. And so as you can see, they were really interested in helping people and hearing their stories. They like working with the residents. They learn a lot from them residents. And they're very excited about their transition, and they feel like working with our team is a great way. One of the benefits of working in the field, and at Touchstone specifically, we have a very collaborative work environment, and so people are very excited to hear that. So I just wanted to reach out to one of our employees to get some ideas or questions or answers for all of you. So yeah, so he was happy to share that information. And then the last slide is just our contact information with our Zoom link. So we're more than happy to talk to you after this session. And Lee, who's our Senior Human Resource Specialist, will join as well.
Thank you so much. So many great opportunities, and it sounds like a very good community. Yeah, I've posted the Zoom meeting information, so, in just 3 or 4 minutes here, jump on over and continue talking with Carrie. Before we close, I want to invite Tom Reese, Career Force Bloomington, to talk about what to expect in the job fairs coming up in the next couple of weeks.
Thanks a lot, Liz. Can everybody hear me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, great. First of all, before I do that, I just want to say this is so enjoyable for me to be part of these events, to be able to catch up with Tim and Carrie and some of the folks I've worked with over the years. My advice to all of you is do not hesitate to connect with the individuals that have presented today. They're wonderful resources. They're knowledgeable and they know what they're doing. So if you feel comfortable enough with connecting with individuals that have presented today, please do so. On your screen, you'll see that Liz and I are hosting a couple of more events. Also, there are other events as a result of January being Healthcare Month in Minnesota, as the governor has proclaimed. And so if you look at the dates in front of you, Hennepin County Healthcare Hiring Event. This morning I looked, and on the list there were over 37 employers that will be involved in that event. They're all healthcare providers, and wonderful access for all of you to be able to reach out to those employers. So please join us or join that event. It's all listed on careerforcemn.com. Also on January 26th, the Metro Region Virtual Healthcare Job Fair, our career fair, will be offered. And then a couple more there in January 28th, from 1 to 2. Bemidji is doing an event, as well as Brooklyn Park. So depending on what part of the state you're looking to secure employment, you have various opportunities this month. The emphasis I'd like to make at this point is to remind all of you, job search is about networking. It's about building partnerships. So I would absolutely encourage all of you to participate in these events, pay particular attention to how to connect with the employers, and then plan to follow up with those employers after the event. The other quick comment I'd like to make, and I know, Liz, we're getting real closer to the end, just to simply say, along with all the great advice you got today, always remember that the end user, in your case would be the employer, is a great resource for you with your job search as well. So always consider connecting with your local employers, reach out to them and ask them about ATs on the job training. apprenticeships or internships, or whether they're involved. If so, who's the hosting agency, and then make that connection. And you're always welcome to reach out to us at Career Force. We're here to assist you in the job search. And any questions you have, please reach out. Thanks, Liz.
Sure. And last but not least, next week, January 26th, is our last official Explore Careers in Healthcare, where we're going to be talking more about career pathways, such as that chart that Carrie showed with their mental health assistant and the pathway that they can take. So we're going to have another jam-packed session next week, and I encourage all of you to pre-register for that if you haven't already. Contact me or Tom Reese at any time at Career Force. We'll get you connected in whatever information that you need. So thank you to all of our presenters today on the call. Fantastic information. I'll be sending this presentation out and we'll be posting it to YouTube. We just really appreciate your partnership and letting us help you along your career path. So have a good week and see you next week.